are gathered here to fill you with fear and give you a treat for your ears. As we invade your mind with our scary rhymes and some tales that can be gory. As you bear witness and sit here and listen to our poetic horror stories. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. Those are the opening lines of H.P. Lovecraft's 1926 masterpiece, The Call of Cthulhu. Hello, PHS crew, new viewers and new subscribers. Today, we are explaining the story of H.P. Lovecraft's famous story that didn't just launch a genre, it redefined our place in the universe. We like to think ourselves as the masters of this planet. We split atoms, we map the stars, and we build towering monuments to our own ego. But in the grand decaying library of the universe, humanity isn't even a footnote. We are a rounding error. It tells us that we aren't the protagonists of reality. We are ants, living on a thin crust of sanity, unaware of the titan sleeping beneath our feet. Today, we're opening the Angel Archives to piece together the three chilling parts of the story that introduced the world to the Great Old One. But before we start, can you please do us a favor? If you're new, can you please click subscribe? We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year 2026. It's free. It won't cost you anything. This will help our small channel grow. We would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's start the video.
Hello, PHS crew. We have a question for you. Do you believe we only exist in a dream? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. We are dying to know.
Our narrator is Francis Thurston, after his granduncle, a professor at Miskatonic University, dies under mysterious circumstances. Francis begins sorting through his notes. He finds a box containing a grotesque clay tablet, a sculpture of a creature that is part octopus, part dragon, and part human caricature. Along with it are the feverish journals of a young man named Wilcox. In early 1925, Wilcox began having vivid nightmares of cyclopean cities made of slimy green stone. At the same exact time, all across the globe, people of sensitive minds, artists, poets, and the mentally ill, they were falling into fits of delirium. They were all dreaming of the same thing. They were all hearing a voice in their sleep chanting two words:
Cthulhu Fatagan.
Francis finds a second set of notes from a police inspector named Lagasse. Years earlier, Lagasse raided a cult in the Louisiana swamps. The cultists were worshipping a stone statuette, the exact same creature Wilcox saw in his dreams, his nightmares. Under interrogation, the cultists revealed a terrifying truth. They weren't worshipping a god in the traditional sense. They are waiting for the great old ones to rise again, the one who ruled Earth millions of years before man. The cult claims that Cthulhu is their high priest. He is sleeping. He is dreaming. He is in a sunken city called...
Yeah.
And he is communicating through dreams. And when the stars are right, the cult will perform the ritual to rise the city, and Cthulhu will return to teach mankind new ways to shout and kill and revel. The final piece of the puzzle is a manuscript from a Norwegian sailor named Gustav Johansen. His ship came across an island that shouldn't exist. Really. But the geometry of the city was wrong. The angles were non-Euclidean, meaning they shouldn't be possible in our three-dimensional world. While exploring, the sailors accidentally opened a massive stone door. Out of the darkness, he emerged. Cthulhu is not just a monster, but as a mountain that walks. It was so vast, so wrong to the human eye. Most of the sailors, due to the pure fright, died on the spot. Johansen, in a moment of sheer survivalist madness, rammed his ship straight into the creature's head. The monster began to nebulously reform, even as they escaped. But the stars shifted. Rillier sank back into the abyss, trapping Cthulhu once more. Francis Thurston finishes the notes and realizes his uncle didn't die of natural causes, and the cult is real. They are everywhere, and now that he knows the truth, he knows his days are numbered. The horror of Cthulhu isn't that he wants to eat us, it's that he doesn't care about us. To a being like Cthulhu, humanity is a temporary blight on a planet he owned long ago. The city is still down there. The pulse is still beating. And one day, the stars will be right again.
Domains. At last, the key was mine to those vague visions of sunset spires and twilight woods that brood dim in the gulfs beyond the earth's precisions. Lurking as memories of infinitude, the key was mine. But as I sat there mumbling, the attic window shook with a faint fumbling.
H.P. Lovecraft understood a specific kind of fear, not the fear of what wants to kill us, but the fear of what doesn't even notice we exist. And at the center of that vast, cold indifference lies a name that becomes synonymous with the end of all things: Cthulhu. But he isn't a monster in a cave. He isn't a demon to be banished. He is a fundamental law of cosmic dread, currently hitting the snooze button on our existence. The geometry of madness. The Call of Cthulhu was first published in Weird Tales in 1928. The story is told through a series of found documents, the ultimate rabbit hole deep dive. What makes Cthulhu unique isn't just his physical form, octopus head, dragon wing blasphemy. It's about where he lives. Rillier. Lovecraft describes the city using a non-Euclidean geometry, a reality our brains can't comprehend. We aren't wired to understand his dimension. We can understand 90-degree angles, but in Rillier, the architecture is wrong, strange, and different. The surfaces are convex where they should be concave. If you walk through the streets, your perspective would be amazed and shattered. You might turn a corner and realize you're walking on the ceiling, or that the space between two pillars is actually several miles away. To look upon Rillier is to realize that our very senses are a lie. We see the world the way we do only because we are too primitive to see it as it truly is. The psychotic pulse, the dreams of the god. Cthulhu is in a deep sleep, but he is dreaming. While he lies trapped beneath the Pacific Ocean, his mind isn't silent. He is broadcasting a psychic signal that filters into the subconscious of the world's most sensitive inhabitants, the artists, the poets, and the mentally fragile. In the story, when the stars align and Rillier rises briefly above the waves and the world goes mad, suicide rates spike. Artists paint hellscapes they can't explain. This is the call. It's not an invitation. It's a leak. Cthulhu is so massive, so powerful, that his unconscious thoughts are enough to dissolve human sanity. We aren't his followers because he chose us. We are his followers because we are the collateral damage of his REM cycle. The cult, devotion to the void. Then there were those who worshipped him. The Cthulhu cult exists in the dark corners of the globe, the swamps of Louisiana, the mountains of Greenland. Their chant is famous. Fengui Magwal Natha Cthulhu Rie Waganagal Fatagan. This means, in his house at Rilye, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. But why would humans worship a being that will inevitably destroy them? Because the cultists understand something the rest of us are too scared to admit. The end is inevitable. To them, Cthulhu represents a return to a primal freedom, a world without law, without morality, where humanity can finally scream, kill, revel in the meaningless void. They don't want to save the world. They want to be the first ones eaten when the stars are right. The ending, the futility of the hero. The climax of the story features a sailor named Johansson who actually encounters the god. In a moment of pure desperation, he rams his streamship into Cthulhu's head. In a traditional horror movie, this would be the victory. The monster would explode or sink. But this is Lovecraft. The ship passes through Cthulhu like a knife through smoke. Cthulhu's head simply begins to recombine immediately. He doesn't even get angry. He doesn't chase them out of spite. He is a mountain of malevolent jelly that barely registers the impact of a human vessel. The horror of Cthulhu isn't that he's coming to get you. It's that he's going to wake up, stretch, and accidentally wipe out your entire civilization, and it won't matter to him. The stars are aligning. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. Cthulhu is still down there. The pressure of the Pacific is the only thing keeping the lid on the coffin. But one day, the stars will move, the tides will shift, and Cthulhu will wake, and his dream will end. The question isn't whether you'll hear the call. The question is, what will you do when you realize you're already answering it? This will conclude the Call of Cthulhu Explained. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. If you did enjoy it, then please like, share, and comment to let us know. And if you're new, please subscribe. Again, we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers this year for 2026. Become a part of the PHS crew. And since you made it this far, then why don't you click on the iCard? We have many original horror stories and deep dives you will enjoy. We appreciate and thank you all, and we will see you in our next video.